Hello everyone, this is Ali MK Hindi, and this week we're going to be continuing in our series From Chaos to Clarity, the literature review process. So in the last 2 weeks, we started off by going on deciding on the type of review, and then more specifically developing the search strategy and why that's important. This week I'm going to focus on selected information sources. So let's say you've got your search strategy, you're ready to go now. Where are you going to get your literature from? So as I allude to here in the figure, using diverse sources is ideal for reviews. Each one has its pros and cons. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over and give one example of using a search engine such as Google Scholar, an academic database such as PubMed, and more recently, AI tools such as Connected Papers. Now, just a disclaimer, this is going to be a brief video. This topic is within itself, it could be a masterclass of 1, 2, or even 3 hours if we're going to go over the nuances of each one. But the point of this video is surface level stuff, just to give you a basic understanding of how you use each information source. So if you have any specific questions, drop them in the comments, DM me, just figure out where to find me. It's not that hard. So what's the best way of doing this? I'm a big believer of using examples. So let's say I was doing a review looking at the effectiveness of aerobic exercises in reducing blood pressure in hypertensive adults. I would personally start by using an academic database because this seems to be a focused question, and that's what academic databases do good. They give you very focused results, and they give you a vast range of peer-reviewed literature. So based on this question, I would start with an academic database. For illustrative purposes, PubMed. I mean, more specifically, I always use Medline because that's a clinical question. But anyways, I would not recommend starting by using this general bar, not only for PubMed, for any other academic database. That's my personal opinion. I think if you're going to do an academic database, you got to go advanced, and you got to know you know how to use Boolean operators. Asad Naveed has done a lot of amazing stuff around that, and if you don't know him, seriously follow him. What are you doing? But anyways, so let's say I would be interested in putting keywords relative to aerobic, my spelling's gone out the window, aerobic exercise. That would be probably one bar, one column. I would want to include any papers that have aerobic exercise. Now notice that I used quotation marks. This is to indicate that it has to be aerobic exercise, not just aerobic alone and exercise alone. So we add that, put a bit of a search, boom, 13,000 papers, cool. Now, once again, just to demonstrate the point, why I use quotation marks, let's say I didn't. I just use aerobic exercise without the 500,000 results, because this is not specifying. It's telling you just pick up any paper if it just says aerobic or exercise. Whereas earlier I specified that. So that was just for illustrative purposes. Let's just get rid of the one without the quotation mark. Now, what would probably be another convenient or another relevant search term in the second column would probably be blood pressure. That would make sense because we want to see if it reduces blood pressure. So I'll add that. Boom, give it a search. Wow, almost 500,000 results. And then we also want to put something around adults because we want to see, does it reduce blood pressure in hypertensive adults? Let's put an ad, search. Because adults is such a general term, look, we got, wow, 8 million and almost 9 million results. Now notice, why did I search each one individually? Why didn't I just put from the start, aerobic exercise and blood pressure and adults? The reason I like to go over each one individually is because I like to see the results individually. So I can see here, I can get a feel that there's not too much hits coming from aerobic exercise, 500,000 from, but really the majority of the thing is coming from adults. So later on, when you want to tinker with your search, this is going to come in handy. But anyways, let's just write 1 and 2 and 3. And this is Boolean operators in a nutshell. So basically what we're telling it is, give me any papers which have aerobic exercises and blood pressure and adults. It's necessary to have all of these three key terms together. We do the search and boom, we get around 1,095 results, which for the kind of research I do is a good number. It's not too much, not too little. And as you can see here, so it's found papers which have all of these things: blood pressure, aerobic exercise, adults. We got all these number of hits. So that's sort of how you use academic databases. Now, let's say I want to use Google Scholar. Google Scholar, for me personally, the advantage of using it is that it's very user-friendly, so you're not going to have to learn how to use Boolean operators or wildcards, truncations. Well, this is what I used it recently for, but it's very user-friendly. So I can just write the research question or just plug in a paper that I know, and I'll get quite a lot of results. That's thing number one. Thing number two, it includes non-peer-reviewed articles. So there might be policy briefings, preprints, conference abstracts that maybe the database search won't pick up. I might get it from Google Scholar. So let's say I'm going to type in the question, does aerobic exercise reduce blood pressure in hypertensive adults? And as you can see there, I got a range of results. So this paper seems quite relevant, but 2001, quite outdated. So once again, the good thing about it is very user-friendly. Let's say I want something more recent, till 2020, boom, 2023. An updated systematic review, that seems quite legit. So this looks quite relevant, this paper. Let's say this paper is such a relevant paper, I can just go find me related articles, and then it'll show you all the articles related. So I usually use Google Scholar complementary to my academic database search. It's good to fish out policy papers, maybe even peer-reviewed articles that for some reason my academic database missed out. It's good to use it in that purpose. I wouldn't solely use it as my only thing for a review, especially if it's a review that I'm looking to publish in the future. Moving on to the third one, we got connected papers. So this is the one AI tool you could use. Once again, this is still quite new. This wasn't there in my time. Wow, in my time, I'm making it sound like I was a dinosaur. But so basically, back in the day, what we used to do is there's something called hand searching. So if you already have papers included in your review, we would look at the references of the paper to look that if there's any relevant papers that we missed out on, and we can find it. So it's like a manual process. Now, luckily, with these kind of AI tools, what you could do is, let's say, for example, okay, this paper is included in my review, and it's such a relevant paper. I really like it. I'll just take it here, plug it in, boom. It'll find it here and be like, listen, just generate me a map. So you can see I already did this before. So this is a map of all the papers that have cited this systematic review and the papers that were cited by the systematic review. And through that process, you might dig out some relevant papers. So once again, as these AI tools are quite new, I wouldn't solely use it for my literature review, but I will definitely use it to complement my academic database and even my Google Scholar search. So that is basically 3 different databases you could use, and I hope you found these examples useful. Sorry if I went over time. This is a quite dense topic, but yeah, that is on my end, selecting information sources. Hopefully next week we'll get to one of the juicy bits, which is data extraction. If you found this video useful, repost, comment, like, and whatever it is we do in LinkedIn, and see you all next week. Take care.